What's going on, everybody, and welcome to Clint's Hot Props. That's right, we are going over UFC Vegas 106 one more time, but this time we are looking at props. What we've been doing on this show is doing our very best to get away from the crazy dart throws. I always throw in a couple for you guys. How am I not going to pull out the tinfoil hat and throw in a couple of greasy long shot props for you guys to have some fun with? But trying to find actual outcomes that we think are taking place. Trying to find actual solid bets, even if we're laying a little bit of chalk, even if it's close to even money, we're going to give you the most solid props at UFC Vegas 106 that we can. Do me a favor, hit the like button, check out Monday's live stream for me, and get subscribed for the best MMA content on the net. Let's get started. First fight of the night, you guys. We're going to get crazy right out the gate, okay? I told you we're trying to look at real outcomes. I told you we're trying to find good, solid props for you to take, but I can't help myself. Tesha Pennington by knockout, plus 800. Now, this has not opened up stateside just yet, so we might even get a better number than that when it comes over FanDuel, DraftKings, etc. I also like the Tesha round 3 at 20-1. Those are the two I'm eyeballing here for this fight. Look, Luana Pinheiro, I've made no bones about it. I can't stand the chick. She's got no heart whatsoever. She's ready to quit on a moment's notice. She goes hard, she gasses out, and I know Tesha is not a finisher. I completely understand that. However, she's built so much more physically than this girl. She's had levels and years worth of experience higher than this girl, and she's 0-3 in her UFC career, whereas Tesha is a legend going life and death with contenders. I think this is a spot where Tesha can really just show out and prove that there's levels to this game, and I think Luana Pinheiro really will just fold up and take her ball home and go play somewhere else at the end of this game. Fully expect Tesha to run train on this fight, and when she does, I expect her to get her out of there. KO, KO2, KO3. 3 more likely than anything, but I will be looking at that round 3 TKO prop. All right, the next fight up, you guys, we want to talk about here is Denise Gomes. We all know the Brazilian lesbian with the neck tattoo angle. It's undefeated, right? So we've got Denise Gomes by KO in this spot, plus 280. I'm hoping for a plus 300, plus 350-ish when those come open stateside. The way that you beat Elise Reed is you take her down and you beat her up. That's exactly what we've seen Denise Gomes do in the past before. The submission is always an option, but we have seen Elise Reed's submission defense seem to be something that she's worked on. So you really just kind of get her out of there with ground and pound. She can't get up from bottom. You can control her, just rain down punches. And Denise Gomes has incredible ground and pound, you guys. We've seen her do this before in the past. I think it's time for her to get violent again. This is an opponent who she should be able to dump, get on top of, and just pound through the canvas. So give me Denise Gomes, plus 280 by KO TKO. Yadir Devali, that is hard to say every time I try, by sub, plus 350. Now, he's taking on an opponent who has only lost by KO in the UFC. Connor Matthews is a guy who's been knocked out twice so far. His chin seems a little sketchy, and I think Deville has the kind of power you need to knock this guy out. However, he's got a real tight squeeze on him, and he likes to grapple. I can see him just getting on top of Connor Matthews, working his way up to an arm triangle and tapping him out, or if he does club him first, having Connor Matthews be a little bit on the loopy side of things and either give up his back or shoot in for a takedown himself to try to survive. So we end up in a scramble, and then you get that choke. I like the sub prop here, and plus 350 is a solid number in my opinion. The next one I want to talk to you about is Jared Gordon by decision. I don't want anything to do with this one. I'm just pointing out how absurd this is. This is a pick'em fight, minus 110. Gordon by decision is plus 110. They're literally giving you 20 cents worth of value on that number. So I just play the money line, you guys. There's no point in playing. That's like women's MMA level of stuff where you're getting a minus 125 favorite, plus 115 on the decision prop. Like, there's just no point. Like, if you like that side, that's okay to lay that extra little bit of juice just in case something crazy happens, because we have seen a guy like Gordon TKO people randomly. It happens. I want to bring one to your attention here, you guys, that I'm not betting, but I just want to point it out. Gabe Green by decision. Now, he's dropping back down to what should be his home weight class of 155. He's taking on a young person who has yet to prove that they belong at the UFC level. He's coming off a long layoff. I talked about the durability issues. I'm not sold on Gabe Green in this spot, but if he does win this fight, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he plays it safe and just gets the win. If he can get this kid to the ground, get on top of him, control, slow the pace down, keep this kid away from his chin, that's the game plan. And a decision at plus 650 might be a little crazy, but I kind of think that's the way that it works. A lot like the Phil Rowe fight, where he probably just minds his P's and Q's, stays on top, floats, and then goes. I kind of like that. The more I'm talking about it, the more I'm interested. Melquiza Costa by knockout is the next one, you guys. I am always trying to fade Julian Erosa's chin. Every opportunity that I get. Now, it hasn't worked the last couple of times. Juicy J is on some kind of a run right now. But Melquiza Costa is the kind of guy that I think will finally find his spotlight opportunity here. The UFC likes this kid. They want him to get in there and show out. He's got an opponent who he can hurt, and he's got a slick little kicking game. You see him working on it at Shoot a Box all the time, so you watch his training videos on Instagram. He's getting better. The striking is catching up to the grappling, and because of that, I think eventually he's going to clip Juicy J with something in this fight, and he'll put him away. I know it's a short number, and he's more of a sub guy, but the plus 165, any plus money is good money in my opinion, especially when you're facing Julian Erosa. Nursultan Frodzaboev, I know, it's disappointing, it's upsetting even, but you guys, I have to just go ahead and point this out. Nursultan Frodzaboev by round 1 KO TKO is plus 175. I think he does Dustin Stolfus dirty in this spot. I really do. The UFC has already made this matchup once before in the past. You get a striker with heavy hands, with speed, with quickness, and that's kind of the kryptonite for Dustin Stolfus. So I fully expect Nursultan Frodzaboev to land that right hand very early in this fight and put Dustin Stolfus down. Now, Dustin by sub at plus 650, however, that's interesting. Or Dustin by decision at plus 750. The more I'm thinking about it, if he extends this fight, he's probably going to be the better guy, but he does slow down himself. He's going to be the more natural 185er out there. So if he gets on top of Nursultan and just doesn't let him get away from him in the second or the third rounds, you could squeeze your way to a decision in this fight. Now, I'm not taking any bit of that pre-flop, but just for argument's sake, if you guys want to try to fade Nursultan Frodzaboev, that's maybe not a half bad way to look at it. The next fight I want to talk to you guys about, or pardon, the next prop I want to talk to you guys about is where we get a little crazy. Right? We've done some like, hey, these are like solid, these are on the straight and narrow, make sure you guys hit one of these. We've been doing that for the last couple. I'm going to give you a crazy one. Paul Craig by KO, plus 1,400. I think there's a very non-zero chance that he gets on top of Rodolfo Bellato on Saturday and pounds him through the canvas. Now, Bellato has good training partners. He's a big, thick dude. He's going to be the more natural 205er, but we've seen him hurt. We've already seen the durability compromise for this guy on the feet. I don't think Paul Craig is hurting anybody on the feet. Let me just go ahead and make that clear. But what Paul Craig likes to do these days is hurt people with his hands. If he's not locking up a triangle or an armbar or something like that on the mat, this guy is elbowing people to hell. I fully expect if he gets on top of Bellato, that's going to be his method of choice. He's going to be looking for damage from there. And we've seen Bellato on his hands and knees against a guy like Ihor Peteria. That's not a good look. So I don't think his durability is all that great. His recoverability appears to be fantastic, but you're not getting out from under Paul Craig. So if Paul Craig gets on top of you and starts elbowing, there's no moment to recover. The referee will have to save you. At 14-1, I think I might have to have just a little bit of a taste of that. The main event, Michael Morales by KO seems like it's destiny. Minus 150. I know it's 2025, and I know the undefeated trend. I'm scared of it too. But Gilbert Burns has been showing his age a little bit recently. I know he looks in phenomenal shape here for this fight. But at the end of the day, he's fighting a kid who's bigger than him, who's longer than him, who's got better cardio than him. And I think the durability could be slipping on Gil. Now, I say that, but you go back just a couple of years ago and he's throwing haymakers with a guy like Hamzat and eating them for breakfast, no problem. So I'm not entirely sure that that's what's going to happen here, but I feel like Michael Morales could really take a page out of Jack Della's book here. Work Gil to the body, tire him out a little bit, and then go to the chin when he's desperate for a takedown. That's how you get Gil out of there, and I think this kid can do that. So I know it's minus 150. I would play the minus 150 way before I play that minus 800 though, so I think that's the way to approach it if you're going to take the Michael Morales side of things. If you want to take a flyer on the dog, 14-1 for Gil by sub. I know it's been a long time since he subbed anybody, but there's levels to this, and if he gets this kid on the mat, I don't think he's going to be ready for world-class jiu-jitsu from Gilbert Burns, especially if Gil gets on top of him. So if you're looking for a dog shot, 14-1, you could do worse. I'm not playing it. I just wanted to talk about that. I more like the Paul Craig KO at 14-1 if we're being real here. That is Clint's hot props for UFC Vegas 106. Thanks for watching, you guys. Do me a favor, hit the like button on your way out. Let me know your favorite prop for this week, and we'll see you on Friday for the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show. Let's roll.